Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and this is my review for the 1517 to Paris. On August 21st, 2015, the world was transfixed by reports of a thwarted terrorist attack on Thalys train number 9364 bound for Paris. An attempt prevented by three courageous young Americans. Director Clint Eastwood follows the course of these friends' lives from childhood through the unlikely events leading up to the attack. Their bond becomes their greatest weapon throughout the harrowing ordeal, allowing them to save the lives of 500 plus passengers. Experience the extraordinary bravery of these men, who are portrayed here by the actual heroes themselves. This film is rated PG-13. It runs an hour and a half or so. It is it says 2018 film. I think it was in theaters the end of 2017 or the very beginning of 2018 here. So, yeah. Let me see if I can find some of the names here. Not really. That's good. So basically, the point of this is that it has these three real life guys, and that's kind of an original idea, obviously. So usually people just consult, on their story. They're not in the movie. So it's hard to judge them. So I'm not going to talk too much about them because they can't act. They can't be sincere on anything. They can't show emotion. They're just in this movie so that this is like an original idea of a movie with them actually being in it. So there's nothing good or bad about it. It's just original, and they're awful actors. But other than that, it's fine. The point of this is to get a bunch of other actors to help sustain the movie and make it actually valid. So they have supporting actor after supporting actor after supporting actor of B-list actors and people that you kind of recognize, but you're not really sure what they're from. So this mom from The Office, the principal is in a bunch of different movies. The other mom is in a bunch of different movies. And so basically what this movie did was like, oh, let's put a bunch of supporting people that people, in the world know who they are, and then we're going to be a legit movie because these other three guys have no idea what they're doing. So I wasn't disgusted by it, by all these B-list actors just being a part of the first hour or so. I thought it was actually pretty good for the first hour or so. I was like, oh, okay, that person. Oh, that person too. Oh, that person. Oh. So it was just kind of one after another, and it was kind of a neat strategy for the first hour. But then it started going downhill because it focuses on the three guys like it has to. That's the point of the movie. So, get into my notes a little bit here, but that was kind of the first thing, was that this is painted out the whole time I saw previews of this movie. This was painted out to be a very serious movie. It's supposed to be about the terrorist attack attempted on this train. That's the point of it, right? This first hour is funny and people not aware that their kids are stupid and disobedient, and they refuse to put them on medicine, and ADD is kind of a new thing apparently, and the kids are just terrible kids, and they play and they do what they want, and somebody makes a snide comment and that person ends up doing what the snide comment was. It's just I could have torn the first hour of this movie apart because even the B-list actors were being awful. I just couldn't take the comedic actors from their past, the lady from The Office and this principal. I could not take them seriously. And this is supposed to be a serious movie. It's supposed to have serious concepts. I didn't know what was going to be in it. And with the material that they had and the way that the movie decided to go, I just could not take these usually funny people serious. And it just was kind of a crap show in the first hour. I didn't know what to make of it. I'm like, what are we doing here? But obviously it was setting it up for a storyline to show you what the kids' childhood was like so that when they grow up, it's supposed to paint them out as being stronger people. But I don't forget the first hour of the movie. They were terrible, terrible kids, and the only path they had when nobody would listen to the principal of their school as they were growing up that they had this ADD is to go into the military because they have no other path to go. And they don't paint it out like they're really patriotic or anything. They just have no other choice, almost. One guy's working at Jamba Juice, and the other guy is trying to get his way through college, but he's still staring out the window. I mean, I catch on to that stuff, and that makes your movie bad. It doesn't make it doesn't make me feel for them more. It just makes me think that the movie is really bad. The part where I get bored, and I mean bored, is when they start their whole vacation. It seems at the time that it's completely irrelevant. And for about half an hour, it is irrelevant. They're just partying. They're just at a restaurant. They're just on a boat. I mean, talk about having fillers. And when you only have an hour and a half movie, this is the definition of needing some filler time. So you're just going to have them walk around. You're just going to have them talk to that person and blah, blah, blah. There's a little bit of necessity for some conversation. Like they're thinking about going to Paris, so they talk to some people about what they thought about Paris or what they think about Paris. So that it ends up getting credible, but at the beginning of it and while it's happening, you just cannot help being bored. It has no meaning for the movie after they talk about all their time in the service and all their training, all the cool stuff that, it's kind of the meat of the story. It ends up just being kind of lackadaisical, three guys on vacation. And it turns into a really stupid part of the movie. I'm not really sure why I had to go that. And then I'm just going to say this as a reviewer and a guy that likes to watch movies and enjoy it for what it's supposed to be. This whole thwarting of a terrorist attack, it lasted like a minute. The guy comes out with a gun. He shoots one guy. That guy supposedly survives. And these other three guys just kind of bombard him, beat the crap out of him. And that's their training. Two of the guys are in the military. I mean, one guy's in Afghanistan. That's what they're trained to do. It's not like something clicked in their head and they're office workers at, Burger King or something. And this was something unexpected. This was their training. I expected them to do that, especially since it's a movie and it got pushed down our throats for months before it came out in theaters. I can't say that I'm surprised or impressed by the thwarting of the terrorist. I think it was handled very poorly. There was minimal action because there was three guys taking it on, and I understand everything that everybody would ever say about this, that it stopped what could have happened. All these people didn't have the courage of these two guys that were in the military. And so they wouldn't have done anything. They just would have got shot down and all this. I understand all that, okay? I understand the logistics of why this movie got made, why the story was told. And I wrote down that they got a really nice medal. And I know they deserve it as human beings, okay? But the way this movie was made, what I'm sitting here watching, was very poorly done. And I don't know why. I just wasn't impressed. So I'm going to get to my major point here is that I think they really missed the ball on this movie. I really do. I was sitting there at the beginning of the movie not knowing what was going to happen. I was really taken back by the fact that they started with them as kids. And I recognized all these people on the supporting cast. The mothers, had terrible lines at the beginning. I'm like, oh God, here we are going in for a stupid movie. But it wasn't really that bad. And then it shows these blurbs of the train. And it's foreshadowing. And I don't know why they had to do it. I'm sitting there going, why are you showing us what's going to happen at the end? What is the strategy of that? You were just sitting here for an hour and 20 minutes until the last 10 minutes of action happen, and there's barely any action, then you're just ruining it for everybody. And I think it would have been a lot more effective if they just did the movie naturally, like they were trying to do, because they only showed like 2 or 3 blurbs of the train and what happens on it at the end of the movie. And so if they just would have cut out those 2 or 3 blurbs and not shown us what was going on and done it naturally, I think it would have been a lot better. So if they showed it in real time, they wouldn't have dropped the ball so much. But I just feel like it would have been a lot better. So if they would have cut out those 3 blurbs, if the acting would have been a lot better, it was really, I don't want to speak on how poor it was because it was just terrible. I mean, you can't just stick me in a movie and tell me how to act and some normal Joe and we perform Oscar worthy. Everybody says how great this movie is. That's fine. I understand why you're saying that. But the 1517 to Paris sticks average Joes in it and it focuses on them. This could have gotten no attention. And the people that saw it would have been like, oh, wow, I really appreciated that. But it got shoved down mainstream throats. They wanted everybody to see this. So every reason that I hear that this movie is good, I understand. But I am telling you that it was not that good. I sat there for the first hour. I was mildly impressed with how they were handling things. Then they go on vacation and it switches straight to awful. And the last scene was supposed to be this big act of heroism. And it's guys that have military training. They get shown what to do most of the movie. And then they put that into action because that's what they're trained to do. And if they would have died, they would have got Purple Hearts and all that stuff because they were doing it in the act of service pretty much as soldiers and stuff. But I'm getting off track is that you have to think about the effectiveness of what you're showing. And you have to think if it's going to go mainstream, your movie, then you've got to make it a little bit more entertaining. And having them on vacation for half an hour is not entertaining. Having them just walk around is nothing. So I have to give this a C-. I think it's very fair grade for a movie that is very lackluster. I'm not grading it off the part of not seeing it in theaters and waiting this long to see it. But I am judging it on sitting through it, being very fair, and thinking about all the parts of the acting and the effectiveness of everything. I enjoyed most of it. I did. And then this, and this were awful, and that just drug the grade down. So C- for the 1517 to Paris. I think that's good. So my name is Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. And enjoy movies, guys. Thanks.